Welcome, one and all, to the Hammer Territory Podcast. My name is Shawn Coleman. Hope wherever you are and wherever you are listening, happy early 4th of July. It's hard to believe that we're already into July, halfway through 2025. It's just crazy how much time is flying. But as much as I would like to talk about, good things, positive things, what have you, the unfortunate thing is that if you watch the Braves game tonight, we were reminded that even though we're in July, not much has changed when it comes to the Braves' performance. A very disappointing 4-0 loss to the Angels. A game the Braves honestly had to have, and we're going to discuss it in a variety of different ways. But as always, me and my podcast partner here, Stephen Tolbert. Stephen, I know that you have plenty to say, and you are very valid in what you were going to say, but it's good to be with you again, buddy. Hope all's been well.
Yeah, what's up, my friend? Honestly, talking with you is my favorite part of this. Is not anything to do with the Braves, just talking to you, Shawn, because once we actually get to the topic of the Braves, it just kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you. Like, this team is, I mean, it's the same shit that we've watched. How many times have we watched this game? Great starting pitching, can't do a effing thing on offense all night long. You finally give up a couple of runs. The bullpen has a bad night. The bullpen's been decent the last few weeks, but if it has a bad night tonight, they give up 4 runs. Never even, I mean, the couple of times they even sniffed a run, they just pissed all over themselves. I mean, now Ronald Acuna Jr. can't even hit. Like, that was at least the one thing we had. One enjoyment I had of watching this. The two things I enjoyed watching about this team were Chris Sale and Ronald Acuna Jr. for a long time. Now Chris Sale's hurt and Acuna's in a slump. I mean, what the hell? Like, I have to force myself to turn these games on at this point. Like, we do a podcast and we have to talk about it. And we get paid to talk about it. And, like, that's basically the only reason I watch now, is because I know I have to do a podcast afterwards. I know I need to know what happened and the particulars, the details. But, like, if I was just a normal fan and I didn't have this, there's not a chance in hell I'd be turning these games on. I can't believe there are people that still do, honestly. I can't believe there are people that still pay to go to that park and watch this team. Watch this team. You're going to take 4 hours with your family and go watch this team live and pay out the wazoo for parking and food. I mean, there's not a chance in hell I would do that right now. It's because this team, you just can't. This offense, you can't watch, and that's where I am right now. I'm just kind of fed up. I'm fed up with this whole group.
Yeah, I can't blame you. And we're again, when we do this podcast, we're here to give, we're here to cover the team. We're here to give analysis, but also honest opinions, whether win or lose, and just we're right back into the same vicious circle of it's just constant disappointment. We'll get into Ronald Acuna in just a moment, and it's no small thing that Ronald Acuna Jr. struggles is also parallel with the team struggles. When Ronald Acuna Jr. was the best hitter in baseball, the Braves were 10-4 over that 14-game stretch. Well, it's no coincidence that in 6 of his last 8 games, he's had multiple strikeouts, including for just the second time in his career tonight, 4 strikeouts. And over that stretch, the Braves have now lost 7 of 11. But we'll get to the lineup in just a moment. Do want to talk about the one positive that came from tonight, Stephen, and that is Grant Holmes. Grant Holmes, once again, was absolutely at the top of his game. No runs allowed, 10 strikeouts. He right now is 6th in the National League in strikeouts. Again, I know that it's very disappointing to watch this team right now, but the development and evolution of Grant Holmes this year has at least been one positive to write home about, and the consistency of him being at the top of his game is what really is exciting about his performance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Strider, Swellenbach, and Grant Holmes are doing their job basically every time out. It might not be this good. Grant Holmes was fantastic tonight. The Angels are actually one of the hottest offenses in baseball the last couple of weeks coming into this game. They have been crushing the ball, tons of homers. And honestly, they looked god-awful all night against Grant Holmes. Grant Holmes had them in fits. And that slider, his breaking, like, his repertoire of off-speed pitches is truly absurd. I mean, hitters have they have no clue what to do with those pitches. The only thing they have is every once in a while they'll catch a four-seam fastball and they'll hit it hard. But once he gets ahead in the count with those off-speed pitches, he's legitimately nasty. Like I said this on, I think a show I did with Brad last week. Like I was very wrong about Grant Holmes. I was not a believer. I thought he was mainly a reliever. This breaking stuff is just absurd, and it allows him to pitch both to lefties and righties, which is a big deal. You know, when you're mainly a four-seam fastball guy, it's tough for you to get opposite-handed hitters out. But when you feature so many breaking pitches the way he does, and they're so good, you can get both out. And man, I'm impressed. And I wish the other parts of this team were operating the way Strider, Schwellenbach, and Holmes are, because if they were, this team would be firing on all cylinders and winning, 8 out of every 10 games. But unfortunately, the only thing going right now are those 3 pitchers. And now we got 2 more games after this with the other 2 pitchers. And we still got the same offense. So that sucks. But Grant Holmes is awesome. And hat tip to Grant Holmes. Like you just said, he is striking out people at an absurd rate. He's just so much better than I thought he was. And all the credit goes in the world goes to him.
Absolutely. But the thing about it is that, you talk about the fact that, Strider, Schwellenbach, Holmes, Sale, they're all under team control this year into next year. And that should be something that we should be excited about. This pitching staff is at the level of a team that's looking to contend. But then you start to look at how frequent a disappointment it is. The Braves have now been shut out in 3 of their past 5 games. You have to go back to 2018 to find a stretch close to that when it comes to this Braves offense. They have been shut out, Stephen, 7 times in 84 games this year. That matches the amount of times they were shut out in the 2022 and 2023 regular seasons combined. That's how bad, that's how anemic this offense has been. And I looked it up. This is the 6th time so far this year. Through 84 games, the Braves now have 6 losses when their starting pitcher has given up 3 or less earned runs and struck out 10 or more batters in a game. In MLB history, through 84 games in a season, that is the most losses by a team when their starting pitcher gives up 3 or less earned runs and strikes out 10 or more hitters in a game. That's the most losses a team has had in such games in MLB history this far into a season. I know that's a very specific stat, but the point of me bringing that up is just to show how bad off it is, how mind-numbing it is to see our offense be this bad when our pitching is this good. And I can say all those words, I can give up all those stats. At the end of the day, it just goes to show that our offense is lost right now, and there's not really a good chance of anytime soon them finding the way that they need to go.
I want to give you a stat. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They've won 53 games. The Los Angeles Dodgers have given up. They have allowed 390 runs this year. 390. Keep that number in your head. 390 runs is how many the best team in baseball has given up. The Atlanta Braves, who are currently 8 games under 500, have given up 330 runs. The Atlanta Braves have allowed 60 fewer runs to score than the best team in baseball by record. And they are, 8 or 9? They're 8 games under 500, allowing 60 fewer runs than the best team in baseball. I don't know how that's physically possible. The only way it's even remotely possible is to have an offense so bad that it borders on historic how bad this offense is. And then you factor in how much money they spent on this offense, how much money each of these players individually makes, the track records that these guys have. Something happened, and I tweeted about this tonight. Something happened either at the beginning of 2024, midway through 2024. I don't know, something happened organizationally where they changed something, where they changed approach. Austin Kane Reach, Battery Power, had a good article today looking through the Braves' approach in 2023, their record-breaking year to now, and how unbelievably different it is. How they're no longer aggressive at the plate when they get fastballs. They're no longer aggressive at the plate when they get to advantageous counts, 2-0, 3-1, 3-0. How their swing rates are down in all of those situations. How they're no longer hitting the ball hard the way they used to, where they used to lead the world. They used to lead everybody in barrel rates and hard hit rates. And even if they were having bad games, even if they had bad months, those numbers were still the same. It's just the results maybe weren't there. Something happened. I don't know what, and I don't know where it came from, where this organization changed its philosophy on hitting. Maybe it was to take more walks. I don't know. Maybe they heard the stuff about too dependent on strikeouts and they tried to change something. I don't know. But what they've done is they've sabotaged the very best part of their organization long term. This unit was built on offense. They locked up all of their position players to long-term deals because it was supposed to be driven by offense. They've taken the very best part of this organization and they've destroyed it through trying to tinker with it, I guess. I don't know. But whatever they've done, they need to stop now. They need to reverse course. They need to tear up whatever this new idea of hitting is. They need to fire anybody who was a part of implementing it. And they need to go back to just trying to hit the shit out of the baseball. Because when they were doing that, yeah, they would have bad nights or bad weeks or maybe a bad month, but at least it wasn't inept all the time. Because that's what we have now. Like, the days they score runs now are the outliers. What we got tonight is the norm. Where they score 6-7 runs, that's the outlier. Those are the shows we come in and be like, my goodness, where has this been? This is a blast from the past. What we saw tonight is the norm. And so it's time to go back to see ball, hit ball over fence, because they've broken the thing that they were built on. And I don't know what else to say.
There's not much more to say. It's just the simple truth is that until this offense rediscovers any type of consistency when it comes to scoring runs, this is going to be the regular result that we get. More to come from the Hammer Territory podcast after the word from our partners.
All right, Harry's is going to get an award here, MVP in the shaving world. And AJ, if you want to equate it to things that we talk about, it's not expensive. And it's super versatile, right? The company itself, because there's other products that you can get on the site, deodorant, body wash, etc. But for your everyday shaving needs, Harry's has you covered. And you look at the pricing, you look at the quality, and you're like, wait, why was I using the old classic brand for a long time?
Listen, as somebody right now that needs a Harry's, I've just been lazy. Harry's, I have plenty of them lined up, ready to use. You can use them for more than one shave, which is huge for me. And the pricing is right. I got to go get my Harry's because my neck beard is sick. But Harry's will fix that. It'll line me up straight. It'll no bumps, no cuts. It's exactly what I need for a great price.
That's right. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. That's our exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set.
So, Stephen, of course, when it comes to the Braves, you never can have it where the disappointment just stays on the field. On the multiple, it seems like frequently over the past few years when disappointment has occurred on the field, it's occurred off the field as well. The news of the day off the field was that the Braves made a trade, not of any significance when it comes to who they acquired, Hunter Stratton, a reliever in the Pirates organization. We'll discuss him in just a moment. But the more significant news from that is that the corresponding move that the Braves made in order to bring Stratton into the 40-man roster is that Chris Sale was placed on the 60-day IL. And this was really the first official recognition of a potential timeline that we've seen when it comes to Sale and when he could return. In other words, it likely looks as if the earliest that Chris Sale could return would be late August. And let's just be honest, at the rate that the Braves are going right now, it's really not that big of a concern when Chris Sale comes back, because it's probably going to be too late for him to make any sort of a difference. But the thing is that, hey, if he's going to be out that long, if the Braves are not going to go anywhere this year, the thing that comes to mind, give him the runway to be able to come back fully at 100% if he comes back this season at all.
Yeah, not surprising. We knew. I mean, Scott and I did the emergency show when that news broke, and we actually had people tell us we were being too negative about it. People were telling us it's only the 15-day IL, like he could be back pretty soon. He broke a rib. Like he wasn't coming. It wasn't a. This was never a 15-day thing. This was always going to be multiple months. So, when I saw them get placed on the 60-day IL today, it wasn't some shock. It was finally a confirmation. We had not gotten any confirmation about his timeline. So it was notable that we finally had a confirmation that, while he's at least not going to be back until late August, and that's the absolute earliest he can come back, it's probably going to be later than that. But it wasn't shocking, and it shouldn't have been shocking to people. Like, as soon as we got news he broke his rib, he was down for at least 2 months. And that's why Scott and I were so negative on that show, because it was the injury they couldn't afford, obviously, by the look of this offense. And every once in a while, how this bullpen looks. Again, the bullpen has looked better lately, but it's still, I still don't fully trust the bullpen, if I'm being 100% honest. But the offense is the main problem, of course. And so losing Sale was just a kick in the nuts, because at least you had Sale, Strider, Schwellenbach, and Grant Holmes that maybe you could win a 2-1 game. And then they lost Sale. So, yeah, I mean, if they're out of it, and let's be honest, they're probably going to be out of it. I'm as close to calling the season as I've ever been. I'm going to let Profar come back and see if that does anything for the offense, but I'm going to give it like 2 days. Honestly, I have zero patience with this group anymore. I'm as close to calling the season as I've ever been. But without Sale, I mean, if they look like this in 2 months, just don't even try to bring him back. I mean, just let him rehab, let him get a full runway into next year. We've seen how good he is when he gets a full off season, a normal off season. Don't even push it. The team would have to be playing a hell of a lot better than it is right now for me to justify even trying to get Chris Sale back.
Absolutely, because at some point the focus will, more than likely, we're about 98% sure at some point, probably this month, the shift's going to turn to 2026. Chris, so obviously,
where we are, 98 might be low. We might be at 99 by now.
At some point, the focus will shift to 2026. And of course, Chris Sale still figures to be a big part of that plan. But you mentioned the other news that is big this week. And of course, that is for tomorrow's games. Jurickson Profar will be back. He will be available in the Braves lineup. And just being honest, I know that many may have felt this is 2 weeks ago, but there's no doubt about it now. It's do or die time for the Braves. Either you get Profar back, and this offense, to nobody's expectations, overnight turns it around in some way, shape, or form, and you start winning frequently, or there perhaps is a little surge Profar could provide. And the reason that I say that is because down at Gwinnett, in his 2+ weeks or so, or 2 weeks or so of a rehab stint, he's had a 990 OPS, walked 8 times, only struck out 6. He's shown some good power as well. He's performed very well in his appearances at Gwinnett. So again, I don't think that Profar all of a sudden is some type of savior that's going to save our season, but at the very least, our lineup does become one significant bat deeper, hopefully, and that could have a good positive effect on others. Your thoughts on Profar coming back, and get into it as much as you want in terms of lineup breakdown and all that, but just what level of expectation do you have when it comes to the impact of Profar?
I mean, he's looked fantastic at Gwinnett. He's got 3 homers. He's got almost a 600 slugging percentage. He's got a 155 WRC plus. I mean, he's looked fantastic. He looked exactly like the player the Braves thought they were getting back in March. But it's AAA, so who knows? I have zero expectations of Jurickson Profar. I'm just going to let him do whatever he does and then react to it. I have no idea what to make of last year now because he's been popped for PEDs. I just don't have any. I have no confidence that last year was in any way real. But I'm not going to just tell you that this guy is a dud because he might not be. He's still a former top prospect with a ton of natural talent. He still takes a lot of walks, doesn't strike out a lot, still has power. So he might hit. And if he hits, I'll give him credit for hitting because, hell, no one else hits. In terms of where he goes in the lineup, I think Snit has already said he's going to bat him in the middle of the lineup. I mean, whatever. I don't care. I am pretty much done with the conversation of how to arrange the lineup because it really does just feel like changing around the deck chairs on the Titanic. Like, I don't care. I don't care what order you put them in. I don't care who bats where. Unless a majority of them start hitting, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I would probably try Acuna in the middle of the lineup at some point, but Acuna is now in a kind of a big funk. So, like, do you want to put that guy in the middle of your lineup? Like, I don't know. You know, until a critical mass of these hitters start hitting, like more than 2 at a time, none of it matters. It doesn't matter that Profar's back. It doesn't matter what the lineup is. It doesn't matter who's on the mound. The Braves have 2 pretty bad pitchers going the next 2 days. Fuentes is probably going to be a decent pitcher at some point. Elder, whatever. I don't want to have that discussion either. But if the Braves don't score, it doesn't matter. So until more than 1 guy or 2 guys in this lineup hit at the same time for any kind of significant period of time, nothing else matters. If Profar wants to come up and be that, great. I'll take it in a heartbeat. Lord knows the left fielders have been god. I mean, Alex Verdugo is legitimately maybe the worst player I've ever seen. Like, he got off to that really decent start when he first got to Atlanta. It was like, wow, what a breath of fresh air. And then he literally fell off a mountain. Like, I don't know if Tim Hires got a hold of him and he was like, all right, let's zap all the talent out of this guy. That was the joke today, by the way, on Twitter, was as soon as Acuna got, around Hires for more than a couple of weeks, now he can't hit either. That was the joke everybody was making. And, Alex Verdugo was a decent hitter for most of his career. He got here the first week, he was great. And then I guess he started talking to Tim Hires and, zap, no more offensive talent. Tim Hires might be, I'm going to get myself in trouble. The Braves, until they have multiple guys who hit, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who's pitching. It doesn't matter about the bullpen. It doesn't matter about Profar. Until they get multiple, more than 2, 3, 4, 5 guys hitting at the same damn time, which has not happened literally once this entire season. Until that happens, nothing else matters.
No, it's a fair assessment, and that's what it comes down to. Like, it's at this point in time, the offense has to carry us, and the only thing that they
don't even hit homers anymore. They're like 24th in homers.
Yeah.
The Marlins are about to pass them in the number of homers hit.
Yeah.
Think about that. They don't even hit homers anymore. They don't even hit the ball over the fence.
Yeah, I think the famous quote is, they are who we thought they were. Well, we unfortunately are who we feared we would be. And that's where we are, unfortunately, when it comes to this Brave squad. I was going to get into, who potentially we could see the Braves parting ways with when it comes to Jurickson Profar. But at this point, I think that's kind of negligible.
It's got to be Verdugo. I mean, Michael Harris is also god-awful, but, like, Michael Harris can at least play defense. Verdugo can't do anything. He can't run. He can't play defense. He can't hit. I'm assuming he can drive a car. I don't know what Alex Verdugo can do, but there's not a thing on the baseball field. Maybe he needs to get away from the Braves and rediscover his talent. It's going to be hilarious if he signs for somewhere else and remembers how to hit. Like Alex Verdugo averaged like 11, 12 homers a year for his entire career. He has not come within a 50 feet of hitting a home run with the Atlanta Braves. Like literally, they are getting players in who have like decent track records and zapping them of all of their offensive talent. I have no idea how it's even possible to take this number of quality major league hitters and quite literally zap them of all talent on offense, of all power. It is literally like watching Space Jam. I really feel like I am watching the Monstars come onto a basketball court with a ball and zap all the talent out of all of the hitters, where they don't even try to hit homers anymore. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make a damn lick of sense what's happened to the talent of this offense. It has to be organizational. It can't be this widespread and not be organizational. They've changed something. I don't know what, but good Lord. You're going to get passed by the Marlins and home runs hit.
Yeah, somebody needs to find a water bottle, write Acuna's secret stuff on it, and just pass it around to the team.
What the hell? And I don't want to hear about the ball. Listen, I understand the ball is different. The Dodgers are still hitting. The Yankees are still hitting. The Phillies are still hitting. The Mets are hitting. You're about to be out hit by the Marlins. This is not just the ball. Like, the ball is different. That's 100% true. But, like, why is it only affecting you? Why is it? And, like, Ronald, outside of the last 2 weeks, Ronald was still hitting homers. Why isn't Austin Riley hitting homers? I keep hearing it's about the ball. Aaron Judge is going to hit 70 homers this year. Cal Raleigh is going to hit 60. Austin Riley can't hit the ball that those guys. I mean, I don't want to hear about the ball. I don't want to hear it. Something happened with the approach of this team, and until that changes, nothing else matters. And I don't mean just this year either, by the way. I mean, with this group, the next few years, if this is the offense we're going to get, you might as well tear it down and start over, because this is not going to be good enough ever at any point. What if you don't get unbelievable starting pitching like they have this year? They have got unbelievable starting pitching and can't do shit. What are you going to do if you have average starting pitching? I'm sorry. That's the last rant. I'm done.
No, I think that it is perfectly valid for this to be the reaction that you have, because again, we're now a year and a half into seeing this. Like that to your point, that's the other thing that we're looking at. We are now a year and a half removed from how historical the 2023 offense is. In other words, we've moved far past it, but I think that it's to the point to where everybody should just unfortunately accept it. The definition of this team offensively now is what we've seen. The identity of what this team is right now offensively is what we've seen for the past 15 months, rather than what they were in 2022 and 2023. It's unfortunate. It starts with the correction of Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, and Austin Riley changing from plateauing when they should be in the peak of their careers, changing from that to getting back to what made them so successful. We haven't even talked about the fact that we're right now in the midst of mashing season for Austin Riley. I believe that I probably talked about it more than anyone. I don't mean to sound arrogant in saying that, but I've talked about it because I felt that it was a very valid point. We right now are in the midst of when Austin Riley is supposed to be one of, if not the best hitters in the National League, if not all of baseball. And right now, he unfortunately is struggling. And until that changes, to your point, Stephen, the outcome of this does not change. The Braves are 8 games below 500. You look at their offensive profile, it absolutely validates where they are right now as a team. We'll discuss it a bit more, plus look at the rest of the series against the Angels after another word from our partners.
It might be that time. If you're looking for a new car, there's one place to go that is going to take care of you, and it's Car Gurus.
Yeah, looking for a car should be fun, not exhausting. Everywhere else, it's exhausting. You're dodging people. You're trying to just, can I look at this car? Car Gurus, you type in your search, you find the color that you want, it narrows it down for you, and all of a sudden you're like, this has been an exciting experience, and you got a great deal.
With over 4 million listings, CarGurus has more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the US, so you can find the best deal. It's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. Cargurus.com.
Stephen, let's touch on the other, news that I mentioned earlier today. We talked about the Chris Sale news, the actual move that happened corresponding with that, the Braves adding Hunter Stratton. Now, listen, I don't think that we need to spend a bunch of time on this. At the end of the day, he was organizational depth as a reliever for the Pirates. He's coming over to the Braves. There were some, potential, positive, there were some, encouraging things that he showed last year. This year has not been very encouraging at all. Again, I know that he's not more than organizational depth, but he is within the organization now. This also could mean that we could continue to see some roster moves when it comes to this Braves team as they're trying to really fill up that bullpen over the next few weeks. Your thoughts just kind of on the inclusion of Stratton now in the Braves organization?
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't care. He's a filler. I mean, he's got a little bit of major league experience. He was actually decent last year with the Pirates, but like he wasn't even on the Pirates major league team. He was in their AAA team. So like that should probably tell you he's not going to be much. I mean, he couldn't make the majors in the Pirates organization. So of course I shouldn't be talking bad about the Pirates because they're about to pass the Braves in the standings as well. So maybe we should reassess where we put ourselves in the hierarchy of the National League. Yeah, he throws hard. I mean, Hunter Stratton could have been my waiter at dinner last night. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. So, relievers with ERAs and FIPS in the 4s I mean, you can hit it, you can throw a stone and find 10 of them. So I'm not going to spend too much time breaking this guy down. He's organizational depth. He'll probably come up at some point just to help fill innings. Again, he does throw hard. He throws like 90, 97, 98. I think he averages like right at 96. Doesn't strike a lot of guys out. It's probably a pretty straight fastball if I'm guessing. But yeah, just organizational depth. It is notable that he's on the 40-man. I mean, that's not just anybody. There's obviously only so many of those guys around. So my guess is you'll see him at some point in 2025, especially if this year keeps going the way it's going.
And of course, the other, thing to look forward to when it comes to Profar, coming to the lineup tomorrow, Didier Fuentes will be taking the mound for his third start. Now, his first 2 starts, there have been some encouraging signs, but there's also been clear indications that he should not be in a major league rotation right now. And that's not a negative towards Fuentes. That's just simply due to the fact that he's 20 years old. He shouldn't be in a major league rotation right now. And I do think that we're kind of to the point to where, if Fuentes comes up and he has another, questionable game tomorrow night, he struggles once again. And it's very possible because, again, as you mentioned, this Angels lineup has been pretty good as of late. If he struggles again tomorrow night, I do think that you need to start having the conversation. Okay, he's done his part. He's done what we've asked. It's time to move on to another option. Even if he has a good start, it probably is to the point of having that conversation, but at least excited to see what he can offer. But the thing about it is that for the Braves, based off what occurs last night, you're probably going to have to make a move in the near future, especially if you want to have any shot of trying to get this season back on track.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised they haven't made a move for a starter of some sort. Again, Scott and I did the emergency show when we got this news about Sale 10 days ago. I don't remember how long ago it was. And I really thought Alex would go get someone, like not anybody good or great, just someone who's a little more prepared to pitch in the majors than a 20-year-old kid who's barely pitched above A ball. But they haven't. And maybe that's an indication that they're, maybe that should tell us something, that they haven't went out and gotten anybody. Maybe they're about done with this team as well. I wouldn't be stunned. But yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be in the majors. He's not ready. And again, there's nothing wrong with not being ready. He's 20 years old. What were you doing at 20? I wasn't ready to pitch in the majors. I mean, I was barely a functioning human being at 20. So like,
I was pitching in the majors. It was
yeah,
on my
well,
PS2, but
you're Shawn Coleman.
yeah. PS2, that curveball was massive.
Yeah, MLB The Show. That's right. So yeah, he shouldn't be up, but who else do they have? I mean, obviously they don't have any confidence in anybody else at AAA, because if they did, they would have already made that move. It's not like Fuentes has looked unbelievable. I mean, if they had literally anyone else, if Hurst and Waldrop had shown even a glimpse of promise in the last few weeks, he'd be up. I can't even name for you other guys in the rotation at AAA. I think Ian Anderson at one point they signed him back. I think he got hurt though. I don't even know who else. Nobody good, obviously. So I really thought they'd make a move. Maybe when Sale went down, the front office was like, what's the point? Maybe they're done with this season too. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, the Braves need him to be decent tomorrow. I don't expect it. Like I said, the Angels were one of the hottest offenses of baseball coming into this series. That's how good Grant Holmes was tonight. But you saw once the bullpen came in, the Angels kind of looked the part again. They mashed. They hit a ton of homers. They did what the Braves used to do, which is hit a bunch of homers. So I don't expect it to go well tomorrow, but I've been wrong before. Maybe Profar will spark something. Need Acuna to listen. I was rough on Acuna earlier. He was never going to run a 1,200 OPS all year. He was always going to hit a slide. I don't mean to take it out on Ronald. He's been unbelievable. He's going to make the All-Star team, which is awesome. He deserves that. He's just been in a slide for about a week, striking out a bunch. He had a bad at bat tonight with a runner on third. It's not his fault. Like I'm not going to take it out on Ronald. He's just in a funk right now. But the Angels have their two best guys going tomorrow or in the next 2 days, and Kikuchi and Soriano. So, and the Braves have their two worst pitchers going in the next 2 days, and Fuentes and Elder. So, if I'm being honest, my optimism level is not high.
And let's also be honest, again, pointing out that the main point of talking about Ronald's struggles is not the fact that it's disappointing to see Ronald struggle. It's perfectly acceptable to see someone go through a week or so of struggles like he's going through. The thing that is so painful, though, is how obviously how dependent this team is on Ronald Acuna Jr. having to be the best hitter in baseball for them just to be able to win a game at the level that they need to.
Yeah, if he's not on base 3 times every night, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't, no one's getting on base 3 times every night. You're going to go through a week, a 2-week, 3-week slump. It's going to happen. It's baseball.
Yeah.
And like, this team is just in no way capable or in any way prepared to deal with like Ronald Acuna Jr. not being awesome for any length of time. And unfortunately, he's been in a funk for a week and they can't score.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. That's not his fault. It's everyone else's fault. Like, he's going to go through a funk. I didn't mean to put as much blame on him as I did earlier in the show. He's going to go through a funk. You need other guys to hit.
Yeah. If Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson not being at the level of top 10 MVP hitters, if that not happening is the reason why you can't win games, it's not on them.
Not even win games. You can't score a single damn run. Not a single run. They've been shut out, what, three out of the last 5 games or something like that? If Ronald Acuna Jr. is not on base 3 times, they literally, forget winning, they can't score.
It's painful. And that's just what it comes down to. There's no other way to put it other than right now, it used to be an absolute positive to watch this Braves team play. It used to be a pleasure to be able to see how awesome this offense was. Now it's painful. It's very painful to watch this team play. It is July 1st, and I can tell you this, for the part of Braves country that is Hawks fans, I feel very confident they would much rather spend their day talking about what the Hawks are doing when basketball season is more than 3.5 months away, rather than what the Braves are doing right now, and it's July 1st, with the All-Star game being in Atlanta 10 days from now. That is a shame.
And I'll say this. I don't need 2023. I don't need them to be the greatest offense that ever lived. Right now, as a team, they have a lower WRC plus than the Marlins and the Guardians. Two teams who are known for not being able to hit. Two teams who spend zero money on their offense. The Braves are like 23rd or 24th in baseball in WRC plus. I don't need the greatest offense that's ever lived. But you should, with the talent they have, they should be top 10, top 12. Like being this low with this amount of talent is a travesty. And they did it to themselves. And that's what really pisses me off. They did it to themselves. They changed something. I don't know what, but they have changed their approach. They've gone super passive. Maybe it was to get more walks. I don't know. You know, we saw Ozuna taking all of these pitches early in the year and not really driving the ball. Like, you know, that's a little weird, but he's taking walks. And it's like the whole team just decided we're not driving the ball anymore. We get into a 3-0 count, a 3-1 count. We get a fastball down the middle. We're taking it. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand. And that's what pisses me off is it's self-imposed. It's self-sabotage. And I don't get it. And until they fix it, it doesn't matter about anything else. Because we've seen that even with great pitching, they can't win. That's how bad the offense is. So until this changes, literally nothing else matters on this team. Nothing. It doesn't matter for 2025. It doesn't matter for 2026 because it's the same group next year, by the way. All of those extensions means it's the same group next year. And so until it changes, until they go back to being able to hit at even a league average rate, nothing else matters.
And the thing is, again, you know, I've harped on it over the past month plus. When this team scores 5 runs, they will win at the rate that they need to. Over that 14-game stretch, before they've lost 7 out of their last 11, they were 10-4. Over that 14-game stretch, they scored 5 runs. If they could score 5 runs, hell, if they could even score 4.5 runs, 4.5 runs per game, somewhere in the middle there, they would be league average. They would be winning at a frequent pace. But hey, you know, I know many have looked forward to, you know, a little bit of ranting here and there when it comes to this team. That's kind of the point that we're at. But the thing is, baseball still occurs tomorrow. I know that some may see that more as a threat than something to look forward to. But Jurickson Profar is back. DDR Fuentes is on the mound. Perhaps the Braves can get a win, and we'll be here to cover it all for you. Brad Rowland, Scott Coleman, we'll be back with you. Steven, as we wrap up this edition of the Hammer Territory podcast, anything else from you, sir?
I just want to reiterate that point from earlier. The Braves have allowed 60 fewer runs this season than the Los Angeles Dodgers and are 15 games behind them in the standings. Just think about that. 60 fewer runs the Braves have allowed than the Dodgers, and they're 15 games behind them in the standings. That's how bad the offense has been. Which it's actually quite hard to fathom how bad the offense has been, but that's how bad they've been, and that is where that is why nothing else matters. That is why the Braves find themselves where they are. And until that changes, 2025, 2026, 2027, however long this group is together, and it's a long time with these extensions, until that changes, nothing else matters.
It's purely offensive to watch this offense right now. That's the best way I can put it. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of the Hammer Territory podcast. And again, hey, there will be more Hammer Territory podcasts as we move forward through the rest of the month of July, going into the rest of the season. So much to come up. One thing that we did not mention, Ronald Acuna Jr., the top vote getter now in the outfield. You have till tomorrow to vote. Make sure you do that to be able to support Ronald. You know, if there's one thing to look forward to, Ronald in the home run derby, Ronald starting the outfield for the Braves, that would be a great thing with the All-Star game being in Atlanta. You can find Stephen Tolbert at B_Outliers on Twitter/X. Find me at StatsSAC on Twitter/X. Hammer Territory across all forms of social media, wherever you get your podcast, part of the Foul Territory family of podcasts. Make sure you check us out, subscribe. However you choose to listen, that's where we'll be for free. Until next time, go Braves. We'll talk to you again soon here on the Hammer Territory podcast.